to be on social media and have what could be described as a love-hate relationship with it. It can make you happy, it can make you angry, and it can make you insane, but only if you let it. Dawn Shaw's drug of choice is Facebook, and she's here to testify that it's possible to spend way too much time on the platform and not let it get to you. Well, mostly. So by sharing a few important tools, Dawn will teach us how to stay sane on Facebook, and that is if you want to. Let's help me welcome Dawn to the virtual stage.
Hello, and tonight I am going to attempt the impossible. I am going to try to convince you that it is possible to stay sane on Facebook. Now, one of the things I want to say first is what this is not about. This is not about privacy settings or personal safety. The only thing that I am going to say about safety is this. Ladies, if the single ex-military guy with the mud-covered pickup truck and the deer carcass hanging out the back sends you a friend request, and he's not your cousin Joe, and you don't have any friends in common, delete the request. Okay, so what I did is I actually made a post on Facebook, and I said, I'm writing a speech about staying sane on Facebook. What do you guys do? And I had people respond, and one of the responses was along the lines of, well, one way to stay sane on Facebook is to stay off Facebook. Well, this is not about that either, because frankly, I'm on Facebook kind of a lot, and probably more than I should be, but I'm here to testify that it is possible to be on a social media platform and stay sane. I use it to keep in touch with communities such as other people that have Icelandic horses. I use it for buying and selling model horses, which is my hobby. And most importantly, I use it for keeping up with friends. So one of the first areas that I want to cover is tools that are actually on Facebook that can help you control how you interact with it. So I am going to actually share my Facebook. Well, one of the most obvious things is it is possible on a post to turn off the notifications. For example, if you happen to run across a post and you're interested in the post, but you don't necessarily want to comment, you can actually turn the notifications on for the post. And that will let you see what everybody else posts. On the flip side, if you make a comment, but you don't want to keep getting notifications every time somebody comments, you can turn off the notifications for this post. Now, I should point out that these three dots are your friend. They allow you to hide a post, for example. Now, for me, my area would be like animal abuse. It's like, okay, I know what happens. I do not need to see pictures of it. Thank you very much. You'll notice that it also says see fewer posts like this. So you can choose to hide a post. Now, if the person is the problem, not just the post, and I imagine that we all have a few that make posts that we just as soon not see all the time, one option is to snooze that person for 30 days. I know that I had to do that shortly after the election, because even though I like certain people, sometimes I just get tired of seeing it all the time. If all they ever post is stuff that you don't want to see, you can still stay friends with them and unfollow them. And that allows you to message them and allows you to go to their page and allows them to comment on your post. If you want to go find what they're doing and comment on theirs, you can still do that. Now, of course, more extremely, you can also opt to completely block somebody, or you can, oh, my internet's slow. You can unfriend them. And note that what I did is I just went to that person's name, and that gave me this optional menu. You can also click over to their profile, but this is kind of a shortcut. So you can unfollow, unfriend, and you can block, which of course will automatically unfriend them. Now, another thing that I happened to notice, which I thought was really handy, is that you can actually hello, messages. You can block somebody's messages without blocking them or unfriending them. So in your privacy and support in your messenger, you can actually click block. And the beauty is I can click it and nothing happens because I actually have to select it. And this allows you to simply block their messages and calls rather than completely deleting them from your Facebook. Now, I have a Facebook friend through the model horse hobby who decided that every day he was going to send out, shall I say, conspiratorial videos. Now, every once in a while, I'm like, okay, I can just ignore that, no big deal. This was every day. And so this is where I figured out, yeah, I can still stay friends with him on Facebook, but I could block all his messages. That actually was something that appealed to me quite much. All right, so those are some tools that you can use while you're on Facebook itself. Now, one other thing I want you to keep in mind about Facebook, and this is where the aspect of Facebook for you as a person outside of the actual application. One thing to understand is Facebook is a choice. Have you ever heard of the term waste booking? Now, I know I've actually looked it up and it does have another meaning, but the meaning that I use is the one where you just kind of are on Facebook and you're just spending time because you don't want to get up and do something else. For example, when one of my mind-reading cats knows that I'm just about to get up and do something else and decides to jump on my lap, curl up, and start purring. Okay, that's when I might waste book, because guess what? I was out of everything else I was going to do. So now I need something to kind of kill some time until I really do have to go do something else, or until the cat decides to leave. Something else about Facebook, don't put anything on Facebook that you would not put on a billboard by the side of the freeway. Another general rule, scroll. If you don't like what somebody says, just keep scrolling. Scroll, scroll, scroll. I also learned that you can actually use a space bar on your keyboard to scroll. It'll take you exactly down one screen. So you don't have to ride your mouse so much. You can just hit the space bar. I think my cat showed me that one time by stepping on the keyboard. Now, somebody in the comments that I mentioned, somebody actually suggested, oh, I have an app that prevents me from scrolling. And I'm like, well, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of being on Facebook? Okay, so what if you are scrolling and you come across something that catches your eye and you can't help but stop and look at it and read it, and it stirs up some kind of emotion? What do you do then? Do not engage. Scroll on past. And remember, Facebook is a choice. Now, I do confess that sometimes you can get great entertainment out of what other people are writing. Honestly, if you have no dog in the fight, if you have no particular emotion, sometimes it's quite entertaining to see what other people are saying. But here is the bottom line. Facebook works off of an algorithm. Make it work in your favor. Interact with the things that you want to see more of, and ignore, hide, snooze, or block the things that stress you out. Now, do I perfectly follow my own advice? No. Do I let posts on Facebook get to me sometimes? And do I engage when I shouldn't? Oh yeah, sometimes yes. But consider this. Maybe the real key to staying sane on Facebook is to own what you do. Own your choices, what you post, how you respond, and the amount of time that you spend there. If interacting on Facebook makes you feel angry, upset, or guilty, remember, you have a choice. You could change how you interact, or you can choose not to interact at all. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Game over.